So in Nietzsche, everything changes. Everybody notice that? I was trying to give some instructions with the meditation, pointing at the fact that everything's changing all the time, each moment. And in Buddhism, anicca is mostly translated as impermanence. And it's one of the fundamental characteristics of all existence, is that everything is changing, that everything is transient or inconstant, or not constant, not static, but alive in that way that each moment just keeps appearing out of nowhere. And we are aware of all this stuff that's coming all on its own. And we're used to thinking that it's me, or I'm identified with it, or that's my thought or my feeling. But, you know, I've said this many times. Anybody here stop their thoughts? No? So, pardon?
For a short while.
For a short while, like for an hour or two? Okay. So maybe they're not your thoughts, they're just happening on their own. And it's part of the beauty and wildness of being a human being, is that all of this is just doing itself. You know, when our sensations change, they just do themselves. Or when feelings come and go, they just do themselves. So the word anicca, the Pali word, it's a Pali word, signifies that all physical and mental phenomena arise, change, and then disappear, either in the moment or over a long period of time. And it's very fundamental to Buddhist teaching, the understanding of impermanence. The Buddha would often say something to the effect of, if you understand impermanence, you'll be free. If you really get how momentary reality is, it will free you. And it's it's part of what are called the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca, which is change or impermanence. Dukkha is difficulty, suffering, and anatta is not self. And they're all connected because they have a relationship that if we see that everything's impermanent, it makes it more difficult to try to hold on to things that we can't hold on to because everything is changing. And holding on is what causes suffering ultimately. And anatta, the sense of self. How many times has your sense of self changed over the course of your lifetime? 2, 7, 20, 1,000, right? And so we start to see even that identity that we hold on to so much is not solid or fixed. And we can be aware of it. We don't have to denigrate our identity or get rid of our ego, as they say. We just want to be free of the identification with it. We want to just see it for what it is, which is an amazing appearance of reality that we call me, or whatever your name might be, whether it's Frank or Kitty or Eugene or whatever it might be. So the anicca, or is that all conditioned existence without exception is transient, evanescent, inconstant, as I said, impermanent. And it's good to really reflect on the words of the Dharma. What does impermanent mean? Anybody know? Pardon? That's a good translation of impermanent. Good. Good. It means it's not permanent. It's impermanent. And the etymology of permanent means remaining till the end, remains till the end. And impermanent means things don't remain till the end, right? It means temporary or momentary. And so there's different ways we experience anicca. We experience impermanence. And if we hold on to things that are impermanent, there's dukkha, there's suffering. And of course, is there anything that is permanent? Go ahead. Pardon?
Awareness.
Is it? Is it? So, but you want to look experientially, because maybe sometimes there's no awareness. And that is actually something that happens very deep in practice. It's called cessation. And there's a cessation of consciousness. No consciousness, no awareness. So even to think awareness is permanent is an assumption. And of course, in the Dharma, we always want to be aware of our assumptions. You can bring the dog in here. Oh, it's okay. It's just, he doesn't like to talk. That's wouldn't be the first time I've been whined at. So, so everything, in my understanding, is impermanent. There's nothing actually permanent or solid in reality. And it's difficult. So there's dukkha with impermanence, right? Because things that we love change, that we want change or go. People leave us or die. That all happens. Like everybody here will die at some point. We all are living impermanence. And it's not a bad thing. Coming into harmony with impermanence brings freedom. And that's something the Buddha pointed at over and over again. The understanding of impermanence leads to nirvana. And of course, it's not just that there's dukkha with impermanence, right? There's sukha or goodness or gladness with impermanence, because when we actually get closer to the impermanent nature of reality, it reveals more the magic and mystery and wonder of each moment of aliveness. Just this. I mean, this will never, 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 never happen again, this moment. Trust me on that. Even if you don't believe me, trust me for a little while, right? Because everything's changing into something else. And it's really a very part of the poetry of our life, right? Of dawn to dusk. Right? Dawn is such a beautiful time of day. I like the early morning. And dusk also is beautiful. Or how a little seed sprouts, and then a huge tree which lasts for hundreds of years, and then that goes, right? So the seed to the sprout, or how imagination that we all have, something we imagined, turns to manifestation, that we do something, that we have an idea or belief, and we act. Just that, from imagination to manifestation. And there's a beautiful quote from Bhante Gunaratna. He talks about the law of change and permanence, but he said it's got a complementary law, the law of becoming. The law of becoming. The law of becoming, like the law of change, is constantly at work and applies to everything. While the law of change states that nothing is permanent but ever changing, the law of becoming states that everything is always in the process of changing into something else. This moment change, and now I'm speaking, this moment changes into this moment. He goes on, he says, not only is everything changing into something else, but the nature of that change is the process of becoming something else, however short or long the process may be. Briefly put, the law of becoming is this: nothing is, but is becoming. Oh, only six phone. That was a good catch. Yeah, I got it. Briefly put, see how everything keeps changing. Nothing is, but is becoming. A ceaseless becoming is the feature of all things. So the wonder, part of the sukha of impermanence, the goodness, is the wonder of the unfoldment of reality, which William Blake said it this way. He said, one who binds themselves to a joy does the winged life destroy, but one who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. It's like I've probably said that quote more than any other quote in my life. I love that quote. It's so beautiful about how we're not, we don't have to react negatively to the change. We can appreciate it. We can't hold on to it, but it's still wondrous how things appear and disappear. And today I had a wonderful appearance of the 49ers winning, even without Brock Purdy playing. So that, you never know what's going to happen. Change can be positive sometimes. Nietzsche, it challenges our attachment to permanence, which can be very disconcerting because it conflict with our imagined experience of what's supposed to be permanent or not changing. And one of the things which I really pointed out is how identity is always changing. Identity is impermanent. Have you ever noticed how mostly one of the things we're identified with is our body? Anybody not identified with their body? Some people maybe not, but I, I like this body. I'm happy it's alive and working pretty well these days. But it keeps changing, right? Even the size keeps changing. Like from the get-go, when you're born, you're like this. You're like, I love being in the park today. I was seeing some people with little babies, and it's like beautiful, brand new beings who came from who knows where and are going who knows where. And then everybody changes in size. And everybody notice that? And it keeps happening even as we age. First we go like this, and then we go like this. And our shape changes, our skin changes, our hair changes, our likes and dislikes change, where we live changes, where we work. And it's wild to contemplate our own personal changes in life because who we are changes. And it's interesting getting older because aging brings a very contemplative perspective to life because you've lived long enough to look and see, oh, that's what happens. That's how life goes. People are born and grow and die. And we know that intellectually when we're younger, but when as we're older, it just becomes more normal. And so we see it more in the big picture, with Buddhism always asks us to see the big picture, the truth of the way things are. And even personally, I mean, I was reflecting on my experience of change, remembering being a suffering teenager in Detroit, and then doing street theater in New York, and then being a musician for many years in New York and on a commune and in San Francisco. and then being a therapist, going to school finally and becoming a therapist, and then becoming a teacher. And all of it keeps changing and has kept changing. And all my friendships that have changed from Detroit to New York to the commune to San Francisco, and colleagues and marriages. I've been married more than once. Once marriage changes for some of us that way. And family. Wild to have family. If you're fortunate enough to have children, my daughter keeps changing. She doesn't stop. And she's a full adult now and she hasn't stopped changing. And so coming into harmony with Anita is liberating because it helps us let go. And letting go is one of the doorways to awakening. The learning to be with things as they are and the paradox of reality as it is. One of my favorite Buddhist suttas, excuse me, yes, sutra. It's a sutra, actually, from the Lankavatara Sutra. It says, things are not what they seem, nor are they otherwise. And then you hear the paradox of reality right there. Are not what they seem, nor are they otherwise. Everything is changing and everything is right here. Both are true. My friend, colleague Joseph Goldstein said, the wonderful paradox of the spiritual path is that all of these changing phenomena as objects of our desire leave us feeling unfulfilled, while as objects of mindfulness, they become the very vehicle of awakening. And he's pointing at how change reveals awakening when we're here, when we're aware, when we have the perspective of mindfulness and kindfulness. And part of giving this talk, and part of the talks that I'll give in a month, has one main thread to it. And it's a thread that some people know about and many people don't, but we're making an announcement tonight that SFI is ending. And it's time, and it's not a bad thing, but it's disconcerting, and it's not what was planned, but it's because things don't go as we plan. Things happen on their own. And there's a lot of different reasons for it happening. And I mean, I was asked to start this sitting group about 30 some years ago, 33 years ago, something like that, as part of my teacher training by Jack Kornfield. And I had no idea what would happen, but I started the group and somebody offered, and I was looking for a space, and I was at Howie Cohn's group, and somebody at Howie, so I asked if anybody had a space, and somebody offered a space in near the Presidio, and we started in her house. And then we moved over time to the Unitarian Church, which many of you might have been at. And that was a great place. We were there many, many years. And then the pandemic happened. And then we went online. And then after a number of years online, we started being both online and doing twice a month live. And you hear how all of SFI has been changing the whole time. And none of that was under control. That had a little bit of input, and I'm really grateful for having been part of SFI for all these years. And I've learned so much over the years, both from the teaching and from the Sangha and from the beauty of being together and studying the Dharma together. But it's really time for it to end, definitely time for me to step down. And it's really the right thing. And there's a lot of different feelings that I've had, including feeling sad about it or grieving it or uncertain about it or excited about it ending, and a sense of wonder and gratitude about it all, and a lot of appreciation, really a lot of gratitude for SFI. And it's like everything else in reality. Forms change, teaching changes, patterns are not static. And SFI will have come and gone, like everything in the world will come and go, including us. So, so I'll end with a quote or two, one from my teacher, Hameed Ali, who said, as we realize that the form of the universe is in constant change, one of the main insights of all spiritual work arises. We understand that holding on to things, not wanting things to change, is a major source of suffering. From the perspective of the totality, change is neither bad nor good. From the perspective of our individual identity, we consider certain changes good and other ones bad. We call some of them death and some of them life, some of them pleasure, some of them pain. This perspective necessarily and always involves suffering because it ignores the truth of the constant transformation of reality. And so this is part of the what changes. And it's really, I think when I was younger, I thought, oh, I'll teach SFI till I die. And I'm happy that didn't happen. But and then it's just become clear over the last period of time that it's the right thing to stop teaching SFI for Eugene, for me. And I'm still going to be teaching retreats. I love teaching retreats, and I've got a lot of retreats on my calendar right now, and that's good. But this regular group is not going to continue. And there was some talk of somebody taking it over, but then that wasn't the right thing. So we're not doing this. So I'll end with the last quote from the Buddha. This is in the Dhammapada, who said, when those who are wise dwell in contemplation of the transient nature of the body, heart, and mind, and of all conditioned existence, they experience joy and delight, seeing through to the inherently secure. When those who are wise dwell in contemplation on the transient nature of the body, heart, and mind, and all conditioned experience, all conditioned existence, they experience joy and delight, seeing through to the inherently secure. So those are a few thoughts from me tonight. So let's just sit for a minute to end. We'll offer the merit of our time together, of our practice together, of our life together, the good fortune that we have to be here and study the Dharma together. May it go out in every direction, touching beings in every realm, in every world. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be safe, protected. May all beings awaken and discover their true nature, their Buddha nature. May all beings be free.